Welcome everyone. Let's make some beautiful miniature peonies using simple materials. I will start by creating some stems using rope or twine. You can even use wire if you prefer. I cut off a small section of rope and I separate it into smaller sections. Then I break down the section even more. I like to use the rope because it paints and glues better than wire for me. I also don't usually bend the wire into any shape or need long stems. With the amount that I use to make the flowers, I have like a lifetime supply of it. I use just a few strands like you see here. I'll lay out several piles at one time to help it go faster. I put a little bit of glue on it and I evenly spread it out onto the fibers with my fingers. I'm working it into the fibers as I twist the layers together, and I'll make several of these at one time. When they're dry, they're really strong too. You can make up a bunch of them pretty quick. You'll probably think I'm crazy, but I save all of the cotton out of my vitamin bottles. I have also used toilet paper if I didn't have any cotton. I like to pull off several little wispy sections and lay them on some parchment paper to have ready ahead of time before everything gets too sticky with the glue. I hold several stems together and I trim the pointy ends off on one end. I mix up a little bit of glue and water too. I start by applying a little glue to the end of one of the stems. Then I pick up one of the sections I have of the cotton and I lay the stem across it. Then I fold the cotton over and roll it into a ball at the end of the stem. The cotton really grabs hold of the rope and the glue really well. I keep twirling it until it is the size that I want, and some I use a little bit more cotton. That way they aren't all the same size. Once I'm happy with the size, I gently apply some glue over the cotton. Be very gentle though, so you don't undo your work. I suggest making up several so you can make lots of flowers at a time. They really don't take very long to make at all. They look like little mini Q-tips. I usually paint the bulb with some yellowish green paint, and I know the center of the peonies aren't a smooth bulb, but at this scale it really works to trick my eye. And then set those aside for now. This is totally not necessary, but I like to use this gel plate to paint paper quickly. I like the way you can mix your colors on the plate, and I paint both sides of the coffee filter. And if you don't have a gel plate, you can just paint with a paintbrush. I'm not really using the gel plate properly. It's really meant to be used with stencils. I've noticed it's really hard to get a really soft, delicate, peachy color. That's what I was trying to create on this filter. It didn't quite turn out like I thought. And then I've seen a lot of peonies that are they look like a white or a cream, but they have a light green in them. This one turned out a lot better than the light peach. Here's another option for painting the filters. You can use some watercolor, or I think it's called gouache. I love the way this one turns out. You only have to paint one side, but I love how the colors are so soft and kind of muted and they just blend into each other. I created a flower pattern in two sizes for download. One is for the central part of the flower and the larger one for the outer part of the flower. You may have a paper punch or a cut file that would work instead. I traced the flower shape onto the painted filter. I didn't really worry about being super exact at cutting them out. To shape the petals, I used this piece of craft foam. Make sure to first use a pokey tool or a large needle and poke some holes in the center of the flower cutouts. I'm using a large ball stylus on the petals. I'm pressing in a circular motion and then I'm pulling down towards the center of the flower. They didn't want to hold still in one spot, so I hope it makes sense. Here's how they look when I finish shaping them. They curl up into a little cup shape. To assemble the flower, grab one of the stems, and I also have 4 of the small and 2 of the big flower cutouts ready to string onto the stem. I put the stem through the hole and I pull it up, and I'm holding it with one hand, and I apply glue with a toothpick or a glue bottle with the other. Gently pull the petals over the bulb and press it. Try not to crush the flower though. It definitely takes a little bit of practice to get the feel for it on the first couple. Here's how the first flower cutout looks glued on. Add on another flower cutout and pull it up. Apply the glue the same way as you did with the previous one and gently pull that cutout up. I wish I had used a toothpick and Aleene's Fast Grab glue instead of the regular glue. The Fast Grab is much easier and quicker to work with. I noticed if I put it between my thumb and my index finger, I can gently pull it up around the flower without crushing it too much, and it'll still look fluffy. I keep repeating this process of pulling the flower up and adding glue and loosely shaping it until I have at least 4 small and the 2 large ones on the outside. Don't limit yourself to those 4 and those 2 large though. If you would like to put all smalls or all larges together or a mixture of both in the quantities that you would like, definitely try that and experiment and play around. There isn't any right or wrong. I also like to mix different shades of the pinks or different shades of the purple papers or even other colors to get different looks of the peonies. Peonies? I'm not sure how to say it correctly. I cut out the calyx and shaped it with the ball stylus a little bit, and I pulled it up through the hole, and then I apply a little bit of glue just like the petals, and I press it up against the back of the flower, like so. Here's how my process looks a little bit while I'm assembling them. I work on different stages of them at a time. It helps the glue to dry a little bit between the stages, and I notice that my flowers have a better shape and are fuller than if I rush it. I find it's very therapeutic to me to sit and make flowers. I try to vary the color combinations on each one, and that way each flower seems more unique. The flower on the right was cut from the painted filter, and the one on the left was hand cut and from the watercolor filter. These two are the same. The left is watercolor, hand cut, and the right is painted paper cut on my Cameo. They look beautiful either way, and especially all grouped together in an arrangement. I hope you'll give my method a try. See you next time.